Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Jorge Olson, and today we are speaking with Larry Gilmore, and we are exploring his way and what he is doing in the beverage industry. Larry is a good friend. We're doing some joint ventures, exploring new projects, and I have him here with me today on the phone. Larry, how are you today?
I'm doing great, and I appreciate the chance to talk to everybody.
Sure thing. Larry, where are you calling us from today?
I am actually in Arcadia, California, just outside of Pasadena.
Perfect. Larry, the first thing I want to ask you is, what's crowd flavor?
Well, basically, Crowd Flavor is a company that I started about a year ago, and with really the premise that there are a lot of that there's a beverage industry out there that's really waiting for some great flavors and great type of crowd favorite drinks that seminate or germinate from different ethnic backgrounds and different crowds, as I call it. And so I'm really trying to get at how do you find those crowd favorite drinks and get them out into the mass market.
So in essence, crowd flavor is letting the people decide what they want from their own ethnicity, let's say.
Yeah, it's like a social flavor creation company. So we're out there looking in different places where people love to hang out. They love to eat, drink, where foodies are, and then they have these favorite beverages that they really they attract them, and they've had for many years, let's say, as growing up, but can't find it in the mass market. And we're basically a company that are taking those favorite type of drinks, drinks that bring emotional appeal, drinks that bring flavor appeal, they comfort drinks out to people.
And how did you come up with the idea of doing this type of beverage for the masses, let's say?
Well, it was actually an interesting process that I'm actually completing a master's degree in agribusiness at the State University, which is one of the kind of the premier universities for agriculture and agribusiness. And that really started because I've been working in an agribusiness for about the last 7 years. So I decided I wanted to see what academia had to say about the field. And through my thesis process, I was looking at different industries that in the agribusiness field that where you can make some money, that were exciting, that were really could be profitable. And I kind of stumbled upon I saw the gap in the beverage industry where I thought I could really bring some expertise and some fun and excitement there to create the beverages like I mentioned.
Beautiful. And one of the things that I like is how you empower the different ethnicities for starting, let's say, with the date tea idea, how you empower the people to also participate in this, and you employ them, you make them entrepreneurs. So you take the idea that they have, in this case for date tea, which is one of the most original ideas I've seen, and then you empower the creators to become entrepreneurs with your help. I love that section of your business.
Yeah, it's I guess really I wanted to emphasize on the call too that there's a real difference between innovation and being an entrepreneur, entrepreneurism. My thesis is on the decision-making process that entrepreneurs use to launch products into the market, and specifically the fact that most entrepreneurs don't make the right decisions during different gating processes as they go along. And many times it's really very difficult to pull out, let's say, or to decide when to keep going. And so that's really an entrepreneurial process, whereas the innovation process is looking at how do you take these drinks and you come up, you're in your kitchen or in a restaurant or something, and you created a great drink with great ingredients. fresh, healthful, beloved. How do you get that into the market? The innovation process happens in your kitchen, let's say, but the entrepreneurial process happens in the marketplace. And basically what I'm doing is I'm finding those innovators who are not able to get out into the marketplace and how to commercialize their products. So working with them to get the products into the marketplace. And which, also happy to be working with you, Jorge, to help me do that. So you've given me a lot of advice and helped my company a lot along the way.
Well, I'm very glad. Larry, one of the things that I see here is, and I love the way you describe it, is you're absolutely right. A tinkerer, an inventor, somebody with the idea, is not an entrepreneur, because if everybody who has a good idea would be an entrepreneur, they would probably all be rich. So
yeah, right.
There's some entrepreneurs with no ideas, and then there's a lot of inventors, a lot of tinkerers that are not entrepreneurs, and their idea always stays in the kitchen table.
Yeah, and really, like Dr. Pepper started out exactly the same way, years, in the early 1900s or late 1800s. Where you had an innovator who didn't really know what to do with this syrupy kind of drink and found an entrepreneur, and, the rest is history. It reminds me actually of a time when, I actually went parachuting many years ago when I was young and adventurous. And, during a class, we had like 6 hours of training on how to jump out of the airplane. And one of my friends asked a question, well, ask the instructor, if there's a safety chute, how long, if my main chute doesn't work, how long do I have before I need to pull my safety chute? And the instructor said, well, the rest of your life. And yeah, so you may wonder how that applies, but when you look at an entrepreneur or you look at innovators, you have decision-making processes, and if you don't do things in the right way or in the right time, you only have the rest of the life of the company to make that decision, and it could be a very short one. If you don't get the right people, the right backing, the right team behind you, you're just going to have a very short life, and you'll be out.
I like the analogy, and also in my eyes, the fact that you're empowering the thinkers, the people with the ideas, and I told you this before, that the fact that you're doing this, you fall into my category of social entrepreneur, where you're not just doing this to make money, you're actually empowering, in this case, people and cultures as well, because you have a very specific culture play in your company.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and I think it's it's fun. It's a lot of hard work, and sometimes I don't know why I started doing it, but it's actually a lot of fun most of the time.
And founders and entrepreneurs come from all types of companies, all types of backgrounds.
Right.
Now let's talk a little bit about your background.
Sure. Yeah, before this, I somewhat, you can say I'm kind of I have a smattering of experience, jack of all trades a little bit. I've been an executive in different businesses, most recently in a NASDAQ-listed company with about $500 million in revenue. And I started with the company, it's called Yongye International, it's in China. I was living in Beijing at the time, and I started with them in about 2007 when they were making roughly $13 million in revenue, and helped to garner private investment and public investment. We were able to raise about $100 million in the worst economic downturn that we've known in recent history, that we were able to find money because we had a really attractive story. So we went to Wall Street, raised the money, and the company was able to go from, like I mentioned, about $13 million in revenue up to, $500 million just recently because of the investment that we attracted, because of the notoriety. Motley Fool wrote about us, a lot of different investment magazines and stuff like that. So, it was a lot of hard work, but a lot of fun, and So I learned a lot about working in agriculture because they're a fertilizer company, but I learned a lot about growing crops and, what it takes to get product to market, a lot of really great things I learned there. And previous to that, I worked for Deloitte and Touche doing consulting, and also worked for some other, companies in management as well.
Wow, talk about a good track record. So you raised $100 million, and then the company went from $13 million to what did you say? How much?
During the fundraising time, we went from 13 million to probably 200, as we raised about 100 million in equity, and then after that, since that time, because of that influx of cash, they were able to go up to about 500 million.
Wow, that's an incredible track record, Larry. Congratulations. That's awesome. Now tell us, tell the listeners what is a PIPE and what is a reverse merger so that they can understand what you did with this, because regardless of the complexity of going from $13 million to $500 million, there's another complexity of going public the way you did and raising capital, which just adds to the level of complexity. Why don't you explain it for our listeners?
Yeah, so basically you have companies who are, you have these, a PIPE transaction is a private money that comes into a public entity, private investment into a public entity. So you have investors who want to put money into your company, and they want to do it basically before you go public, and it's kind of this reverse transaction or reverse takeover some of you have heard about. So you put some money in, and then there's a reverse merge into a shell company, and it's all. It all sounds very complicated and kind of strange, but it works, and it helps. It helps a private company basically transform itself into a public company and have some money, to do that. And really, companies do that because you may not be able to get loans from banks or whatever, but through this process, you're able to get some cash to help you grow the company. And really catapult your growth and sales and everything. So, everyone's kind of familiar with public shares and, buying Apple shares or whatever, but this is a little bit kind of before that process when the company is much younger.
And then, of course, it allows you to raise capital easier because they have an exit strategy. They don't have to wait until you sell the company. They can just exit in the stock market, correct?
Right. A lot of investors, a lot of these investors are, pretty opportunistic, so they want to get in with the company when they're in their huge growth platform, and make money. Come in at $1 a share and get out at $8 a share or 10, or rather than staying with the company from 10 to 12. After you're pretty mature, the stock appreciation kind of levels off, and you're not going to get a whole, unless you have like Apple. But not many companies are like that, so it kind of levels off, and then you don't get as much from appreciation, but maybe you get it from dividends or something. So that it's an early way to get money into the company, and investors get a lot of return off of it.
Okay, and even if you don't get the appreciation, as a company, you can still get funding, which is important for you, because you need the cash flow, right? And you need to operate and grow and get more distribution. It allows you to get more money in and grow.
Right. You have a great idea. People realize that, they think that if you have a great idea, it should sell, but there's so much that goes into encapsulate this great idea with the marketing and sales platform, or to really catapult it. You have to have marketing dollars. You have to have a lot of money that's put into the company before it ever sees any revenue at all. So that's the main issue, is that you have to have the money for marketing and sales and building the team, and before you get any kind of money coming into the company. If anyone watches Shark Tank, you totally understand the process of trying to convince people, that you need money before you have much revenue at all. There's more than just that great idea. It's the team. It's everything else.
Absolutely. And just so listeners know who I am, a lot of you already know me, either personally or you've been to my webinars, you've read my articles, maybe you've read my books. I've been in consumer packaged goods and the beverage industry for a while. I do project management, I do beverage development, and I am the president and CEO of the largest full-service beverage development company in the U.S. I've also worked with companies, several of them, including as president and CEO. I'm the author of 2 books, and I have more books coming, including one that's coming soon, 2 that are coming soon this year. One in a collaboration with Steve Forbes, and the other one in a collaboration with Dan Kennedy. So make sure you read those when they come up, and you can buy my books in the local bookstore, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc. Now let's talk about your products. Under your umbrella, you have different products. Let's start with the date tea, ground tea. Tell us about that product. Actually, what's interesting about this is the ground tea that you see here. The ground tea came from dates. So you have the dates, and then you have to roast the dates. When you roast the dates, you sell them, and then by then you have to put them in your coffee maker. Is that right, Larry?
Yeah, right. So for our ground tea, I think the difficult part about what we did with this first with our Unite brand, which I should say, Premier Brands helped from the ground up to put together the concept, the packaging, really how to get out and talk to the consumers and a lot of the messaging. So I appreciate your brand managers and everyone who did that. For the ground tea, we take date beans, date seeds, that just like a coffee bean, and we roast it, and then we grind it. We have some different proprietary blends too, different herbs that we add with it to make it, basically it's kind of a blend between a coffee and a tea, and it's great tasting. It's got a lot of antioxidants, and it's a great tasting product that has actually never been on the market before. So that's a lot of the challenge that we have, is trying to get an ingredient that's never been commercialized before out into the market. So that's been a fairly challenging process.
But at the same time, Larry, I think that's the genius that you have behind the product, because as I told you before, I rarely see an original product in this business. I rarely see a true unique selling proposition with something that is inventive, that is innovative, and just new. And this product is new. So of course we have the challenges, because you are first to market, and we need the early adopters to buy the product, including supermarkets, convenience stores, distributors, and everybody else. But at the same time, the best asset that you have is precisely that you are first to market. And I think that's going to show up in the next couple of months, in the next couple of years, once the company grows exponentially. So that's going to be great.
That's really our hope and our what we're planning for. So we have a whole structure behind the company, fundraising plans, the team that we want to have together, the back office for for all the admin, for the sales team, all of them will just help support, once we start getting traction.
And you have, under the Unite or Unite umbrella, you also have your ready-to-drink tea. Tell us about the product, the ready-to-drink product.
All right. So the ready-to-drink tea is basically a brewed tea that is, our first flavor is a mango peach. We wanted it to be a little bit exotic, something that people thought sounded, really flavorful and sounded really great and attracting. And so it's basically just brewed from our date bean that we roast ourselves. And some of the unique characteristics are that it's really quick to market because we get everything from here near Palms, California, from the Coachella Valley. We get it off the farm. We take it and we process, and then we roast, and we get it to the packaging company or to the bottling company, and then out into to the consumer very quickly, compared to like if you have a tea that's grown in India, how long, or in China, how long does it take from being picked until it gets actually to the consumer? It's really a long time. Ours is fresh, it's quick, it's flavorful, and yeah, really proud of it.
Beautiful. And this is a ready-to-drink tea that you can buy in any store. You pick it out of the refrigerator, you open and you drink it. The other one, you buy it, you take it home. You don't drink it there because it's ground. So you have to take it home. And then how do you prepare it? The ground one.
For the ground tea, just like you would any like coffee type product. So you 2 to 3 tablespoons per serving, and you really kind of blend it to taste. But you could do it through your coffee maker. I do it through kind of a French press. You can use a tea infuser. I mean, different ways, but it's like a coffee, and in the way that you prepare it. And down the road, we're going to like to have like a single serving type, tea or bags and that kind of thing. Something for the different machines that are out there. Right now, we have it in the 1 pound pouch.
1 pound, perfect. Now you have a third product right now under the same umbrella, which is the Mexican Mocha Latte. Tell us about that product.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. We use the same company that does a lot of coffee formulations for companies out here in California, and they've done this type of beverage for many different famous companies, and so we just put together something that has Mexican chocolate and really kind of gets people, reminds them of, when they're growing up and having some kind of chocolate drink like this with their, that their grandmother made or their mom at night, it's something that really just it's got a great taste, chocolate taste. But the one thing to remind for our date products, these date bean products, is it's naturally caffeine-free. So anyone can drink it. Kids can have it, and parents don't have to be worried about them getting caffeine. And it tastes so very close to coffee, but then it also has a date taste, which is a little bit different. So it's really professional formulation, really tasty. It's a lot like a Frappuccino that you might buy from a Starbucks. So it's a good product.
Oh, perfect. And let me tell some of our listeners about Mexican products in the United States. Some of the large companies, including Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, and Unilever and other products, are betting heavily on Mexican products. They are acquiring large Mexican companies, bringing them to the United States. Even some of the Mexican companies that come by themselves, like Bimbo is a perfect example. They bought Sara Lee. Now they're becoming one of the largest bread companies in the U.S. A lot of companies are betting Mexican, not necessarily Latin or Hispanic, but these are Mexican-specific products. If you go to stores in a lot of the states, you will see these kind of product in Mexican stores, Mexican-specific stores, Mexican convenience, Mexican supermarket, and others. If you go to California, if you go to Texas, you will see these type and other Mexican products in every store. You will see it in your Walgreens. You will see it in your CVS. You will see it in your Kroger or Kroger affiliate. you will see it in a 7-Eleven, in a Valero, in a Circle K. So if you go to certain states, as an example, California, Texas, you will see products are completely crossover. Everybody's drinking them, everybody's taking them. So this is a very smart move in Larry's company to start with some of the Mexican products as his niche products, because that's where the market is going, especially where we are in California. And Mary, tell us about your other product. Tell us about your juice.
Yeah, our juice product is basically also the first ever on the market. We've created the ability to take the super date fruit. The date fruit has so many vitamins and minerals. You know, people have known about the date fruit, you know, all the way for centuries. You know, Cleopatra, I don't know, way back when people have been eating, you know, date fruit, and it's so healthy. And so we've been able to take all of those vitamins, minerals, and get them into a liquid form that then we can mix with, you know, tangerine juice also, tangerines or oranges coming from California, and mix it together with that citrus to have a great taste, to have all the vitamins of the citrus fruit as well as from the date fruit. And as you can see from the presentation, the color is still takes on the tangerine juice color, even though it has the date infusion. So many people are, you know, it's pretty amazing that we've been able to infuse it with a date without changing the color. And people think that is a great taste. It's really healthy. Kids love it, you know, and so we're very proud of it.
And how many other juices do you plan on producing?
Right now, we're concentrating on these for the juice side. We have the tangerine. We have some in research and development. Some other juices that we'll release later. But right now, this is kind of our headline product for the juices because it's unique. You know, tangerines right now, you've got all the cuties. You've got, I mean, tangerines are kind of like really exploding in terms of people really, you know, eating them and being familiar with them, and you know, and so we kind of bust out with this product line and then move to some other exotic, you know, fruit juices later.
Oh, interesting. And what has been for the products that you have? I know we've been introducing them, and we've been asking some distributors and some retailers to take a look and see your product, sending samples. What has been the reaction from buyers, from stores, from distributors to your product?
Yeah, I think, you know, people are, you know, really, at first, like you said, because it's a new product, it's just, you know, people have kind of a puzzled look on their face, like, you know, date fruit or, you know, date beans, what is that? But, you know, once they smell it, you know, if they smell it, then they're converted. I mean, people just right away, you know, they go to the smell and they say, wow, it's so flavorful, more than most teas that we've had, you know, that we've purchased or drank, especially the ground tea. Our Harmony blend has, you know, peppermint, hibiscus, and cinnamon, and people just love that. So, you know, once we get them to smell it and to taste it, you know, they're basically, you know, convinced. We were at the National Date Festival in February and probably gave out over 1,500 samples. And it's so many people coming back to buy once they had a sample. So it's a little bit of skepticism because they're not really sure about it. But, you know, once they taste, smell, and they taste, and they're, you know, like, yeah, they love it.
And you know what? There's something very interesting here also, Larry. You are speaking with some of these decision makers for your product. But remember, I can tell you as a comparison, because we speak with more than 5,000 different decision makers every month, for retailers, distributors, and other stores. So I see the comparison. I see what other products are doing. I see what your product is doing. I see the reaction from our salespeople. I see our reaction from our salespeople to your product and other products as well. Your product is wonderful. The people, the reaction that we're getting from decision makers, from buyers, it is 3-4 times better than other products. Now, I know that from your standpoint, because you're not selling another product, you can't see it.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes you might say, well, they're skeptical. They're not skeptical. This is completely normal. They're skeptical about, you should see how the products are reviewed. Your product is absolutely adored. Maybe they're not going to tell you, the buyers, because they have to negotiate with you. And if they start telling you they adore it, the price is going to go up. But everybody should know that because of the innovation factor on Larry's product, category buyers, distributors, managers of stores love the product. And they're telling us they love the product because they've never seen it. Of course, they don't know where to place it. That's one of the problems I see. People say, should I place it with coffee? Should I place it with tea?
Yeah,
but that's completely normal. I wish every project was like your project, Larry. My life would be so easy.
Thanks. I appreciate a lot of that is from working with you guys. I think, too, that, my initial plan out of the gate is basically to create a blue ocean strategy, which I know some of the people on the call may or may not be familiar with that. But, basically blue ocean strategy is looking at a product and how you market it, how you create a place in the market that is a blue ocean, which means you have few competitors or no competitors, rather than a red ocean where, it's just like the sharks are feeding and, you're really scrapping for every 1% or 0.5% of margin. So we wanted to create a category bending product that would get us out into areas that, people would see a lot of value and a lot of uniqueness. And, we don't have as much competition, none. So then we grow. We want to get into people's families. We want to sell and get our products into families that, they pass it on to their kids. They pass it on to their friends. Everyone, Unite is kind of like that coming together and just really having a great time, having beverage, sharing in the community, and really, really taking that with you. And when we say social flavor creation, that's another, we want people to take it with them and to, share it with others.
And to understand, you can read a book. It's called Blue Ocean Strategy, so you can learn about this.
Right.
It's a wonderful book for entrepreneurs. If we have a lot of entrepreneurs listening, learning and education is a big part of being an entrepreneur and a large part of being a leader. You have to educate yourself because you will convert yourself into a mentor. If you're not educated, how can you educate and be a mentor? Blue Ocean Strategy, other books are a must. I try to go through at least one book per week, plus audios and book summaries, magazines, and other TED Talks. I listen to 2 or 3 TED Talks before I even check my emails, because in the morning it's very important to be inspired. You don't want to wake up to tasks. You want to wake up to dreams. How can I reach a dream? Not just fulfill a goal, but fulfill a dream. And remember, entrepreneurs want to reach goals. Social entrepreneur wants to reach dreams. And I invite you to reach dreams. Education is very important. The Blue Ocean Strategy, if I put it into Larry's product, Larry, instead of saying, I am going to create an energy drink, that would be a red ocean strategy. There's hundreds of energy drinks. I personally developed about 18 energy drinks, so that can give you an idea of how many are out on the market. He said, no, I will compete where there's absolutely nobody. I'm the only one So by default, I'm the market leader. I'm first to market. I have something completely unique. That is a blue ocean strategy. He's not competing on flavor. He's not saying, I will develop a different flavor for an energy drink or for this existing product. That's not a unique selling proposition, and that certainly is not a blue ocean strategy. What you see here from Larry is an incredible unique selling proposition that fits into the blue ocean strategy perfectly.
Yeah,
just a mentoring moment there, Larry, for,
I appreciate
for our
that.
listeners.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, yeah. So, and really, like I said, my thesis came out of an educational experience. So, just however I got to this, it was through reading, a lot of talking to professors, and trying to figure out, can we really make this happen?
And tell us something that I always like to ask. What are the goals? What are your goals, your personal goals for this endeavor?
Well, I obviously I wanted to be, I wanted to be successful, but I wanted to find something that would, like you said, not be a Me Too kind of. I wanted something to be different. I can be out there talking to people, really getting attention, and I want the company to really be involved in the community, to really, from my perspective, I want to bless other people, with a great product, with people having something as they come together and they share together and they enjoy that time together. I think it stems out a lot of kind of my just kind of personal background, and so those are the kinds of things I want the company to be out there and to give back to the community, as well as be very successful, and really create value for consumers and for my business partners, the distributors and the stores, which is really that whole kind of blue ocean thing where we're not fighting about percentages, but we're enjoying some value, and everyone kind of makes money and has fun at the same time.
Beautiful. And also, I should mention that we're working on some projects. We'll also go to places like Tibet and give back to those places directly, so that there's a direct connection from the product now and the people who produce the product. And I think that's sensational as well.
Right. We want to be a sustainable, kind of fair trade. I mean, in the U.S. there is a fair trade organization, but it's just much different than what you find outside the U.S. And so we want to do things to help growers, to help small growers who find difficulty selling products into the market, like in the date industry. You have small farms, you have big farms, and every time you have a agricultural environment like that, you have small farmers who have difficulties getting their products out there. So we want to work with small farmers here. When we bring in products from overseas, we want to do the same. Really give back to the community so that everyone participates and everyone feels like they're successful because this product is able to be successful as well.
And how fast do you want to grow your company? Are you working on a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year plan?
Yeah, mine is like a 5-year plan where by year 3 I'm really falling in line with some of the other companies who gained kind of national attention from the Coke and Pepsis of the world. So, getting into 10,000 accounts in 5 different cities across the U.S. on each coast, and really being kind of recognized and able to give any shareholders and that we have now some opportunities for exit in case we have a bigger investment later. But also, we really want to get our products into the hands of people everywhere. So in order to do that, we need money. So we have to, raise money in order to get these out into all the urban areas and into stores, so people everywhere can kind of share in this kind of fun California sunny type product, grown in the Palm Springs area, Coachella Valley. So, we have to, in order to grow, we got to have some investment. So, we're kind of on a 5-year trajectory to where we will then be a $20 million company or more.
Okay. Now, you mentioned investment. How do you plan on compensating investors? What's going to be your exit strategy?
Well, like I mentioned, an exit for early investors now, if we have any angel investors, before any venture capital rounds, someone who comes in now can, potentially when institutions come in later, they can kind of sell their shares or get out, in the second round. But if they stay along, it would be kind of a strategic round, let's say, from a bigger company or from like initial public offering. If we do something in 3-4 years, we'll do a public offering, and then at that time, we'll give. We have a lot of exit opportunities for early investors, and we'll be able to also give other investors a chance to come in and grow with us. So, really it's kind of the same thing as everyone else. You have, founder money, you have angel money, you have VC money, and then you've got bigger institutional money later.
Absolutely, and I think the fact that you have a proven track record and you already raised $100 million is going to work to your favor. I know that with the investors that I've talked about your project, like you, just because you have a success. And remember, a lot of these investors are looking at you. They're not looking necessarily at your project, at your product, but they're betting on you. And that's very important for other entrepreneurs to know that a lot of investors like your product. Most investors, especially professional, seasoned investors, will invest in you, not necessarily in your project. And
right.
Then if you do something correctly, they will continue to invest in you in different projects.
Yeah, and then like I mentioned before, but I like religiously watch Shark Tank because it's just such, it's just that's for the entrepreneur. You learn so much, and the main, you see so many times, the sharks are out, not because it's a bad idea, but because the entrepreneur, says, hey, I want, you to spend your time on my company, or there's many messages out there about, about the entrepreneur that just, worries or concerns that, the shark. And I've also seen the other ones where everyone's out, and then the person just says, look, I will work night and day, I'll never sleep, I'll never eat, I'll do whatever it takes. And then one of the sharks will come back in and they're like, I believe that you're going to make this successful. And so it's all about the entrepreneur and how successful they are, what their track record is, or can you make people believe that you are going to make it happen no matter how few hours you're going to sleep. We were going public with my other company. We 4 hours sleep a day. That's it. Other than that, you're on the phone. You're talking to investors. You're setting up the transaction with your securities lawyer. You're going through documents. You're reading through reams and reams of legal paper that binds you to this investment. I mean, you just have no idea how much work you have to do, but that's what you do to then get that cash infusion that then you can make your company successful.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let's talk about a little bit about the future. What is going to be your company structure? I see that you're going to have your company, and then you're going to have some Asian products, water products.
Yeah,
Tell us about the vision.
Yeah, we're looking at different ways to satisfy crowds out there who really don't have different types of the drinks, beverages we think that they would love. A lot of this comes from my experience living overseas. I lived in China for many years, and when I got there, I realized, I can't find an American hamburger or a really good malt shake, or there's so many food products that you get there, you just can't find it. And then when you find some restaurant that's making it, it's terrible, and I really want to bring authentic type beverages to people who are here. They live here. They're looking for formats that are American, but they're looking for taste and ingredients that may remind them of home, remind them of when they grew up. It's fresh, it's healthy, it's good for you, it's not laden with a lot of sugar. And so that's what I'm really kind of scouring, the globe, I guess. Right now we're working on some here in the U.S. All the ingredients are local here in California, but later on we'd like to bring some in from overseas. You mentioned we're working on a Tibetan water. So we're doing a lot of stuff that, really is going to still be blue ocean and be different.
Beautiful. I love it. And you're attacking the beverage industry right now. Do you plan on doing something non-beverage, or is it all in the beverage industry?
I think mostly right now we're looking, if we're successful, I think that will, give us enough to do. And as I mentioned on the slide here, it's really interesting that, that the CEO of Coke, Muhtar Kent, said that, Coca-Cola is now refocusing its business on the U.S. And you think, wow, that's crazy. It's a U.S. company, but 70% of their, revenues come from outside the U.S., and they focused outside the U.S. for many years. But now they realize that, we're the only Western nation with a growing demographic. And so I think with beverage lines into those growing demographics, we'll have definitely enough to do over these next number of years.
Oh, absolutely. And beverage industry is very unique, and it's very sexy, and valuations are high. They can go up to 10 times those sales. But one thing that everybody has to remember, investors have to remember it, entrepreneurs have to remember it, is you need a unique selling proposition in the blue ocean. You need an entrepreneur, and then you need to focus on execution. That means acquisition of stores most likely. And that's what Larry's doing. I know we have some investors also live on the call so that they know what's happening, and Larry's focusing on all three that are important, and that's why he's on the phone, and that's why he's being successful.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about the problem of beverage shortage.
Well, I think, like I said, our really value proposition is finding unique beverages that really are not in the market. And, we've talked so many years about the U.S. population, about, being a melting pot, but we're really not. That's just kind of a myth, or maybe it was true years ago, but not now. We're really like what they call a salad bowl. We're a country where you have so many different immigrant and ethnic populations that are sometimes they're too secluded, but also they're very unique and they're very authentic. And when you go there, you feel like you're in that country a little bit, and you get the feel of the streets. And I don't know, being overseas for many years, I really love that. So it's a way to look at our demographic that's different. So it's not just a sugar, high fructose corn syrup kind of fruit drink for your kid, but it's what are those kids who grew up with families from overseas or whatever, different experience. What are they used to drinking and eating, or drinking, and what is going to satisfy them, and their families. So that's basically what we're looking at doing.
Perfect. Now tell us about the first brand, which is the portfolio of Unite and your soft lunch.
Right. So obviously with your guys' help, we put together all, everything, our booth, all of our marketing material. We had photo shoots, videos, we're walking around. We basically kind of landed at the National Date Festival in Indio, California, which some people have also heard of the Coachella Music Festival. So it's there in the same place. So there's about 330,000 people who go to this festival every year. And so we just landed, we put our products out, and, we, basically gave out, like I mentioned, over 1,500 samples in about a 10-day period of time, and just really let people know what we're doing, our date products there in the date capital of the world. And, many people were skeptical that we can even do this, but after tasting, smelling, and they were believers. And, all of the sales that we made at that festival came after people sampled our products. So there were no surprises. And so we got Facebook going, Twitter at the same time, and just really, trying to understand what consumers were looking for, and they loved our product, and really for that target market, everything just worked perfectly. And so we're just really happy about that. And, people, for our latte drink, Mexican chocolate latte drink, we were just giving it away for free, and people were begging us to pay for it. They just said, give me a big cup. Yeah, I want a big cup, not a little sample cup. I'll pay for it if you give it to me. So that's what is very, very kind of, you just, yes, we hit the mark, and we were really happy about that.
Now, it's important to mention also that you have intellectual property here, because the process for the date is your process, so it's part of the brand's intellectual property.
Right, yeah. So we have our own processing. No one else has really done this on a commercial grade. So yeah, we have all the trademarks, all of the other things to kind of protect ourselves and really get a leg up in the industry. So yeah, I think overall, we're looking kind of, we're out talking to investors, and we're taking this success and catapulting it to, all of California, and then across the U.S.
Perfect. And just so people know, Larry started like a classic entrepreneur with an idea, with a big picture, with experience. We help them with the business side of the beverage industry, which is what we know, including sales, distribution, research, positioning, and then product development, formulation, making sure that it fits the market, making sure that the package is appropriate, the size, and everything that goes into packaging. And now, and I work personally with Larry. I do some coaching, and we have some joint ventures together. It's usually when you enter in a relationship, in a partnership, then you start looking at other opportunities and what else can you do. And this is where we are right now. We're looking at new products, new projects, and other things that we can do together in this industry. And a lot of entrepreneurs can learn from Larry and what he's doing. And Larry, what's next for you? After you get your funding, what's next? Are you going to continue with this company? Are you going to grow it? Are you going, what's next?
Yeah, I just, I want to go along for the ride as long as possible. I mean, I'm pretty realistic about what happens with companies who, really kind of grow and attract national attention, and you have bigger food companies or beverage companies who come along, and there is something to say that a Coke, a Pepsi, they've got distribution and they're able to get products into places that are just very difficult for just a lone entrepreneur, even someone with money. So I mean, you just have to realize that at a certain point in time, they can really get it into the hands of more people, and that's what you kind of look for. But I think it's fun to do what we're doing and to be entrepreneurial and to really bring this to the market. And that's I want to stay on as long as I can, as long as I can do that. So, but I think too, I just want to express that, working with you guys, I have made mistakes along the way, and what it helps you help is to kind of mitigate some of those, or keep me from making other mistakes and different things like that. So I think that's the value that you bring. That I don't know the whole lay of the land, but you guys do, and so working together kind of helps me get on that launching pad faster and with fewer mistakes. At this point in time, mistakes always mean money. And
Absolutely.
when you're a young company, you don't always have a lot, so you want to make as few mistakes as possible.
That's right. And it even at this time, for me personally, a lot of these mistakes that somebody can make, it's time. And you get to a point where time is more valuable than money. And for me, all of these learning opportunities, and what I try to pass to you and other entrepreneurs, is not only that you save time, that you save money, but that you save time. Because at the end of the day, what we'll want to get back is time.
Yeah, and you want to get into the market as fast as possible and in front of people, and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Most entrepreneurs that I work with tell me by the second year that I saved them about 3 years and at least $150,000. And that's what they know. What they don't know, right? It's probably much more, because I spent almost $2 million making mistakes. So hopefully all of those mistakes I can pass to you and to other entrepreneurs, so that they don't make those mistakes and they don't spend $2 million in 3 years finding out what to do.
Right, exactly. So yeah, it's been a very beneficial. And the other beneficial relation. The other thing I want to mention is also because I knew, I didn't want to be a guy out peddling drinks at a farmer's market. So I knew I had to get someone with professional experience and connections and that kind of thing. I just, I just wanted to launch this on a kind of a national scale. So, I think that warranted the expense of working with you guys.
Beautiful. And also, if people want to get in contact with Larry, if you have more questions, if you want to buy the product, to distribute the product, or if you want to get in touch for investment opportunities, you can go to the website, and there's a form and a telephone number there. And you can go to his website, or you can go to my website and get in contact with Larry, or get in contact with me as well if you have questions about your product.
Yeah.
Here's the information. And she'll be happy to answer any other questions or requests for distribution or retailing, for investment, or whatever you have.
Yep, I totally agree.
Now you can ask your questions. So we'll have some of our listeners use their chat mechanism to ask questions. So let me see here. Let me turn on the chat. Chat is moderated so that people can be sure that their questions are private. So if you have questions, and again, you can ask questions about social entrepreneurship, about distribution, about Larry and Larry's background and Larry's company and Larry's idea and how he came about to start this company. Anything that you want, distribution, exporting, China, because Larry knows about, he lived in China, so he can answer questions about that as well. And we have some questions here. Let me start. Larry, how long have these products been out? The first question.
What was that again?
How long have these products been out in the marketplace?
Yeah, we spent the first year in R&D and kind of getting commercial, our supply chain set up. So basically launching back at the end of February at the Date Festival. That was kind of our, that was like our soft launch. And then after that, we started working with Jorge's sales call center to start opening up store accounts.
Beautiful. And just so everybody knows what he's talking about, we have a call center for sales and distribution. We call brokers, we call distributors, we call, depending on the needs of the brand. With this particular brand, we have a specific strategy, which of course is proprietary to Larry, so we cannot discuss it, but we have a proprietary strategy of how we're going to get his specific product to market. Every product is different, but we can get 2 people, 5 people, 20 people, 100 people on the phone calling. You probably don't need more than 1, but if you would need it. Here's another question. How much have you invested the first year?
Yeah, I think so. Probably like rule of thumb. We've got 4 different drinks that we've put through a lab and commercial process. So it's gonna take you probably 200,000 or something like that to get to this process. We've also had to spend a lot, some on inventory and that kind of thing. But I think it's like a friend of mine said, it's an expensive hobby, but hopefully you don't, you actually get past that hobby stage into, a lot of sales.
That's right. There's another question here about angels and VCs. Jim, the first thing that I would invite you to do is I have a group on LinkedIn. You go to LinkedIn and you search my name, or you search venture capital, and I have a group called Venture Capital. Join the group. It is the largest deal flow group on LinkedIn. And then from there, I take some of the best ideas and I send them to specific investors. So again, you go to LinkedIn and you join the Venture Capital group. It's a blue icon, and you start posting your project there. You might also want to just go to jorgeolson.com or some of my other websites and put your product there, so you can start talking with somebody in the office to see what your next steps are. And of course, education. We have videos, we have audios, we have books on the beverage industry and more books coming on the beverage industry. So learn as much as you can. Go to my Deal Flow group. It's about 10,000 people, and most of them are investors of every type. And that's a good place to start, and it's free. Oh, you can't beat free. Okay, next question here. This is for you, Larry. It's from Matt. What steps did you take to begin your company? Was it from scratch, or did you have a previous company or contacts? And what's the best advice for a new entrepreneur?
I think, I started basically from my the roots of my thesis from my master's program. So obviously I had kind of the advantage of having supply chain experts, marketing experts, other professors who helped me kind of get through some of that content, for my business plan. So really, it's interesting. My business or my thesis, some of my research shows that you're more successful as a business when you create a business plan, and people say that time and time again, but many people don't believe it. But really, research bears that out. And I started with a business plan, and then started looking for experts to help me execute on it. And so that's when I kind of got linked up with Jorge's group. And I also found an innovator who was doing this innovative beverage product. So I kind of brought the innovation of the beverage together with the entrepreneurial approach and then the expertise of the industry. So, I just realized early on that I wouldn't be able to do the whole thing myself. I had to really get some experts in to help me do it.
That's right. And something important here for new entrepreneurs is you need a business plan. And not only as an entrepreneur, but as a person, you need a life plan. So planning is terrific. You have to plan your day. You have to plan your week. You have to plan your year. You have to plan your life and your marriage, your kids, and you also have to plan your business. Having a plan for everything, and that don't mean that you should write a 1,000-word or 1,000-page plan for your life. Start with bullet points. With your business plan for your new beverage venture, start with bullet points. Start with your vision. See some of the videos we have. We cover most of the things that you will need for a business plan on free videos, free teleseminars, and on the book Build Your Beverage Empire. And by the way, we lowered the price to $2.99 on Kindle so that everybody has access to it. We couldn't give it away. Amazon doesn't let us give it away, but the lowest we could get it to is $2.99. So that is the roadmap to your business plan. Start with that. Learn about sales. Look at videos, audios, books about sales, distribution. Learn as much as you can, and have your plan. That's a great advice from Larry. Let me see. Next question. I'll answer this one, Larry. It's about social media marketing and Facebook. This is a good question, and it's also a trick question. Remember, when you're in the beverage industry, beverages are infrastructure heavy. Larry's not drop shipping. His business model is not to drop ship to customers. His business model is actually to sell it in stores. When you use social media, more than you're targeting the whole nation, and it is very difficult to target just one location geographically. The best thing for Larry and other entrepreneurs is to put his efforts into retail. The social media part is easy, and I see a lot of mistakes around media. I see companies spending thousands of dollars, not one or two. I've spoken, remember, we get 40, 50, 60 calls every single week. And I've seen a lot of companies spend a lot of money in social media. Don't spend a lot of money in social media. Use it with your friends, invite your friends, and if it gets viral, it gets viral. But even if it gets viral, you get thousands of people, you cannot drop ship beverage type of product. It's $20 to $30 per case for drop shipping. If you go and you sit in front, and by the way, I've had this in the past, if you go and you sit in front of the 7-Eleven buyer, and you tell him you have 10 million likes on Facebook, he will kick you out of his office. He doesn't care. He will ask you, how many stores do you have? Now, do we use social media for Larry? We do. We use search engine optimization. We use social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and other things. But they're a complement. His business model is not around social media. Social media is a complement in this particular industry. Other industries are different. Direct response is different. But in this particular industry, we need to focus on stores first and social networks that are business networks like LinkedIn, more than Facebook even. Let me see next. Let me see. I did some research, and you're the only beverage expert I found. Well, that's a trick question. I think the CEO of Coca-Cola is a beverage expert. I think the CEO of Pepsi-Cola is a beverage expert. I've met several VPs of Coca-Cola. I met the president of Pepsi Bottling Group in Mexico. I think they're all experts. Now, you're not going to get a call with them. I think that would be the difference. And you can get a call with me. I think their niche is to be executives, and they tell me they're not entrepreneurs, they're employees. And I'm a beverage expert that happens to be an analyst for Wall Street, that happens to be an entrepreneur. I own my own beverages. I own my own distribution companies, and I advise, I consult, and I mentor other entrepreneurs in the industry. I think that would be the difference. There are other experts. It's just that they're president, CEO, VPs of these companies. If I am president and CEO of a publicly traded company, but I also help entrepreneurs because I'm passionate about helping entrepreneurs and convincing them to be social entrepreneurs and change the world. So it's a trick question. Let me see, another question. We have quite a few, Larry, so I'll go through them in order here.
Yep.
Let me see. This is from Dennis. Hi, Larry. Are you already making a profit? Or what is your timeline for that?
Yeah, I wish. I think any realistic business plan, it's to really kind of get back in the black. It's going to be, year two. I think we will make, if we stay on plan, we will, break even towards the end of the first year in terms of, the expenses that are, the variable expenses and so on for our, product. But, actually we'll put out so much marketing dollars that, we won't really be into the black until probably the second year.
And that's an interesting point, and this is also for new entrepreneurs. In your goals will depend also on your growth and your strategy for rapid growth. If you want to grow organically, or if you want to grow rapidly. If you want to grow organically, you can show profit sooner. If you want to grow very rapidly, you will not make a profit very soon because you're investing constantly in growth. And many companies that invest aggressively in growth will never experience a profit until they sell the company and it settles down. Because that's not the strategy. The strategy is to grow, 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 and to provide value, stockholder value through that growth, so that stockholders don't make a dividend, don't make a percentage of profit. They actually make money when the company is sold or goes public, etc. And that's the rapid growth. At the same time, this is why these companies are so interesting, because Larry can go from 0 to 5 and then $10 million, $20 million, have a $100 million valuation very quickly because of his plan for accelerated growth. So it's a different strategy, rapid growth versus organic growth.
All right.
I have another question here for you from Andreas. When would you recommend a reverse merger?
When?
Yeah, I think they mean at which stage. And he's asking, taking into consideration the cost of a reverse merger.
Yeah, I mean, it is, it is a fairly expensive endeavor. So, working with the lawyers and getting the shell company, going through that whole transaction, it could easily cost you, $500,000. So, you really have to have sales to kind of, typically have to support that, or, investors who who are willing to go through that process with you. Because afterwards, you have to also have the expense of accountants, have to file your financials reports with the with the SEC every quarter, and for your annuals, your 10Qs, 10Ks. You have to do all your 8Ks when you have any news that goes out about the company. So it is fairly expensive. So I would say you need to really have some the revenue to support that and some cash to support that process, or investors who want to do it. So it's usually done, usually it's 2-3 years down the road, typically, although you can do it earlier. Some people do it a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm. And Andreas, a reverse merger is not necessarily an exit strategy, because I see that's part of the question. It's an exit strategy combined with a funding strategy. So it's an exit strategy for the early investors. So the people who invested first in the company can exit, can sell some other stock because it becomes public immediately. So let's say that you invest $500,000 in your company, and you get a lot of stock, of course. It goes public through a reverse merger, and you can exit, and some of you at least make your money back, and maybe even double your money if there's volume in the stock. But also it's an opportunity for the company to continue getting funding. And let's say that you don't sell all of your stock. You maintain some of your stock, and you can continue selling for years to come because the company is executing, it's getting contracts, it's getting sales. And then it's good for everybody. It's good for you as an early investor. It's good for the company because they're getting funded. But it's not an exit strategy because the executives are not going home. They have to execute and continue to work. And Larry, when you did that reverse merger, nobody stopped working. On the contrary, you grew from $13 million to $500 million.
Yeah, you have to really execute on your business strategy after that. Once you get money from investors, they're always right there, every quarter trying to wait and find out what's happening, and then you have to go through and fine detail, talk about, your financials, about your business strategy, what's working, what isn't, keep them abreast of things that are happening that are, affecting the company, and so really you have to be ready to just execute on your plan, once you get the cash in.
That's right. And Jill has a product which is an alcoholic product, and she has some product in some stores, but it's difficult to grow. Jill, it depends on your personality, first of all. It depends on your age, what you want, your goals, and your personality. Personally, what I would do is get funding. I don't have the patience anymore to grow organically. I want to grow everything exponentially, and I want it quickly. I like to see things grow very quickly. I don't care about giving a percentage of my companies away, personally. But again, that's my personality. That's what I would do. Get funding, get some money into the company so that you can grow, so that the large distributors take you. Now, whether or not they take you, they will not open accounts for you. So you have to go and open accounts. And remember, in your industry, you have to make the account, you have to make the brand on-premise. So a lot of your work will be going to bars, selling the product in bars, and then you'll make your profit later on in retail. But the brands are made on-premise. So focus on-premise, go out and open bars. Now let me tell you something. If you go out and you open 100 accounts, the distributor is going to take it. Are they going to take it then go open 100 accounts? No. Even if you're funded, they will not do that. You have to go out, open the accounts, and invite a distributor to participate. Remember, distributors are not necessarily salespeople, they're distributors. Scott asks about the privacy of the developing stage. I think for Larry has true, and this is not very common, but Larry has true intellectual property into this brand because it's a process. A formula can be duplicated. So yes, you have privacy. Yes, you have secrecy in the formula, but unless you discovered a new ingredient from the Amazon, it can be duplicated. It's just a formula. Somebody can reverse engineer it. If you have a process, then you're talking about something real. If you have a new discovery, you discovered a new fruit, then you're talking about something different. Otherwise, a formula is a formula. A good lab technician can create it probably in 2 days. Whatever that formula is, they can create it in 2 days. Your unique selling proposition is never your formula. Never, ever, ever. I have a video on how to create a unique selling proposition. It's free. Call the office or email the office, follow the link on Jorge Olson and ask for it. It'll tell you what is and what is not a unique selling proposition. Now, do they sign NDAs? Yes, everybody will sign one. That's not a problem. But again, that's not a unique selling proposition. Jim had a question about somebody taking his brand. That's a tough one. I think that's one for the attorney, Jim. I don't think we can help you with that one.
Trademarking, yeah, a lot of trade. Got a good, trademark and patent attorney. People, entrepreneurs hate to spend money on that stuff, but at some level, you have to do it, or else, you can, someone can steal it.
That's right. So Jim, how do you keep it quiet? Well, trademark it for starters. Trademark it so at least you can show it. You can show something. Investors will not sign NDAs. If they sign NDAs, they cannot do their job. I don't sign NDAs when I look at brands. Imagine, I get 40 calls a week. My lawyer, I would be bankrupt in lawyer fees if I had to sign 40 NDAs a week. Investors probably get 100 calls a week, so they will definitely not sign NDAs. It prevents them from doing their business. You have to protect yourself with trademark. And remember, if your unique selling proposition is just the name, you're not doing your homework, because just your name is not a good unique selling proposition. You need more than that. Once you have your whole package, then you go to investors, and you make sure that your package is not easy to copy, so that there is some separation, some barrier of entry there. And the other thing to remember, investors don't want to be entrepreneurs. They want to be investors. They have the money, you have the time. They don't want to be in your shoes. They already have the money. They want to give the money to somebody else and let them work. They don't want to work. Let me see. Another question for you is your beverage Whole Foods ready?
That's a good question. We're in talks with we've met with Trader Joe's. We've got some contacts at Walgreens and looking at Whole Foods, and basically what you have to be ready is your facility has to be ready, because they do an inspection. You have to have your ingredients ready to make sure that it doesn't. You look on their site and make sure that you don't have any ingredients that are listed there. You may need consultants, people who know what's needed, like Jorge and his team, to find out what certain things are they looking for, or what certain things are a red flag. So I think we're pretty close. You also have to have money, so you can have ensure a marketing campaign. So yeah, I think all of that. They're definitely a target, and so we're working on that right now.
And Casey, if you mean from a specification side, yes, the product is ready for Whole Foods. From everything else side, we have to go through some hoops, which is completely normal. But from the specifics side, from the ingredient, from the type of product, yes, the product is ready. It's ready for Whole Foods and the natural market in general.
And
it's ready for natural.
And we told our formulation lab that was our goal, so they knew that from the beginning.
Yes, the product was developed to fit the natural trade. And that's I love that trade, and we talked extensively about it, and it was part of the business plan to target that trade specifically. And Larry, I want to thank you for being with me and spending this time with me and everybody else. I really appreciate it. I know your time is valuable. Thank you for giving us all of this great information.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Any time. It's been, I love talking about it.
Beautiful. And thank you to everybody for being with us. We had a lot of people on the webinar today. We're going to have a webinar every week. We have it on Thursdays, and then you can call the office or go to the website and send a link if you want the video. They will tell you how to get the video for free. You can pause the video. You can get other videos on how to create a unique selling proposition, how to become a social entrepreneur, how to get distributors. Just follow any of the links that you see here and send an email, how do I get the videos? We'll give you the videos or whatever you want to ask. The videos are free, like I said. Go over them. Join us next week. Thank you for being with us. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate that you spend your time with me. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.